Alfred Burton, a retired colonel, put a number of articles in his shopping bag. Regrettably, he didn't produce them at the cash desk and left the supermarket without paying for them. But the best-laid plans sometimes go awry, and unfortunately for Colonel Burton, he'd been observed by the manageress and an assistant who followed him into the street and stopped him. The colonel was requested to go with the manageress to her office, and he did this willingly. When it was suggested that he hadn't paid for all the goods, the colonel agreed and went on to say that he'd no intention of paying for them. The police were called, and now the colonel, who long ago practiced for a year or two in the Far East as a lawyer, is defending himself on a charge of shoplifting. The prosecution case is already underway.
Constable, you are David John Donaldson.
Yes, sir.
Your service number is D444, and you are at present attached to Fulchester Police Station.
Yes, sir.
Were you on duty on Monday, the 18th of December, 1972?
On Monday, the 18th of December, 1972, as a result of information received, I went to Busby's Supermarket, High Street.
I see that the officer is reading from his notebook.
Yes, Colonel. Mr. Harvester, will you ask him about his notes, please?
Very well, my lord. Constable, when did you make these notes, please?
When I got back to the police station, about half an hour after the events recorded.
Please continue.
On Monday, the 18th of December, 1972, as a result of information received, I went to Busby's...
Pardon, my lord.
What is it now, Colonel?
But the witness cannot simply read from his note. He can use it to refresh his memory. And if the note doesn't bring back his original recollection, he can't give any evidence at all. At the very least, he must be asked if his memory has been refreshed.
You do not seem to have forgotten the law, Colonel. You are quite right. Officer, when you read your note, does it refresh your memory? Does it bring the events recorded in your note back to your mind?
Yes, my lord.
Thank you. Will you please go on?
My lord, on Monday, the 18th of December, 1972, as a result of information received, I went to Busby's Supermarket...
Colonel, what is the matter now?
I beg your pardon, my lord. I wasn't going to interrupt again. My biro has run out.
Mr. Harvester, would you please give the Colonel something with which he can write?
My lord, I'm afraid I've nothing I can spare.
Usher, would you please give the Colonel this?
I'm much obliged, my lord.
And let us try again, officer.
My lord, on Monday, the 18th of December, 1972, as a result of information received, I went to Busby's Supermarket, High Street, Fulchester. I arrived at about 16:45 hours. There I met the manageress of the store, Mrs. Arkle. She took me to her office where she introduced me to Alfred Horatio Burton.
Officer, do you see that man in court today?
Well, yes, he's sitting there beside you.
Thank you. Please go on.
The following interview took place in the presence of the accused. Mrs. Arkle said, "This shopping bag contains items which this man took from the shelves and did not pay for. I watched him at the cash desk and he did not pay for them, although he did pay for certain other items." I cautioned the accused and asked him if he wished to say anything. He said, "Take out your notebook, officer, and write this down." He then dictated to me the following words. "It is true that I took all these things which this good lady says that I took, and I did not pay for them, and I did not intend to pay for them. I have had nothing to eat for 5 days. My money was stolen, I have nothing at home, and I've got no money. Unlike Camels, old age pensioners don't have humps." I cautioned the accused and then took him to Fulchester Police Station.
Mr. Harvester, what would be the attitude of the prosecuting authority if this were true? I mean that the Colonel was indeed penniless and in need.
Now, my lord, if it were true, and you will hear evidence that it is not, I would say that it would be no answer to the charge. In my submission, necessity is no defense to a criminal charge.
I see. And you say that there will be evidence to show that the Colonel was not penniless and not in need.
Yes, indeed, my lord.
Thank you.
Officer, do you produce the shopping bag and the articles found in it?
Yes, this is the bag.
Will you show us the contents, please? 1 orange, 1 packet of dates, packet of rice, tin of curry powder, and half a pound of minced beef. Goods to the value of 64 pence. Is that right, officer?
Yes, it is. I should say that this wasn't all that was in the bag at the time.
What else was in the bag?
A kitten, my lord.
A live kitten.
A live kitten, my lord.
I see. Mr. Harvester, the shopping bag is exhibit number 1, the orange is exhibit number 2, the dates are exhibit 3, the rice 4, the curry powder 5, and the mincemeat 6.
Yes, my lord.
See that they are marked. The kitten, I take it, is not an exhibit.
No, my lord, it was released.
On bail, I suppose.
Hardly what you would call the necessities of life, officer.
More like a Christmas feast, if you ask me.
That was very naughty of Mr. Harvester.
Yes, Colonel, that was out of order. Mr. Harvester, will you please stick to the evidence?
My lord. Will you go on, officer?
At 17:45, I asked him if I could go to his residence, and he said yes. I went with him to flat 5A, Homewood House, Mill Lane,
Is
Fulchester.
that an old people's home?
Oh, not as such, my lord. It's a big house where a lot of old people live, quite independently. I don't think it's an organised home of any sort. It belongs to a Mr. Patel, a foreign gentleman.
I see, thank you.
We went to his flat, and he showed me the kitchen at my request.
Did you see any food there?
Yes, there was bread, cheese, tea, sugar, in the fridge, some milk and eggs.
Now, officer, the colonel told you that his money had been stolen. Did you ask him about that?
Yes, I said, where was your money stolen from? He said, from my retreat. I said, did you inform the police? He said, no. I said, was your room broken into? He replied, no. I said, does someone else have a key apart from you? He said, yes, Mr. Patel and Mrs. Makepeace.
Did you search the colonel?
Yes.
Did he have any money on him?
Yes, he had 1 2-pence piece in his left-hand trouser pocket and 4 £1 notes pinned with a safety pin inside the flap of his hat.
That was in a deerstalker hat?
Yes.
Do you produce the hat with the money?
Yes, this is it.
Exhibit 7, my lord. And yet he'd earlier said, I have had nothing to eat for 5 days. I have nothing at home, and I've got no money.
That's right, sir.
Did you ask him about this money?
Yes, I cautioned him and said, you said you had no money. He replied, it's my money. I then cautioned him and formally charged him with shoplifting.
Thank you, officer.
Now, officer, first of all, I want to say that throughout this sorry business, you and your colleagues have treated me with the utmost fairness and courtesy. And to cap it all, you gave me an excellent meal at the police station.
Thank you, sir.
Now, officer, did you see anything in that flat to suggest that someone else lived there apart from me?
Yes. My lord, the flat consists of a bedroom on the landing and then a suite of rooms consisting of a living room, a kitchen and another bedroom. I believe there's a bathroom on another landing. Well, the other bedroom looked as though it belonged to a lady.
Exactly. In other words, it isn't my flat at all, it's someone else's.
Whose?
Irene's.
And who is Irene?
Mrs. Irene Makepeace.
So you have a part of her flat. Is that what you're saying?
I have a little room off the landing, which I rent from Mr. Patel, but Mrs. Makepeace allows me to use her kitchen.
I see, thank you. Would you go on, please?
Now, officer, this is very important. You didn't ask me, did you, officer, who the food in the flat belonged to, not that you're to be blamed.
No, I didn't, sir.
And you've no idea who it did belong to.
Well, I suppose not, no.
And now, officer, I believe you have taken the trouble to inquire into my past record.
Yes, sir, I prepared some antecedents.
Would you be so good as to tell the members of the jury of my past record, my antecedents, as you put it?
A moment, Colonel. Mr. Harvester, before the Colonel puts his character in as evidence, let me say that I'm relying upon you to tell me whether or not I should warn him of the possible disadvantages.
My lord, I can safely say that in this case there would be no disadvantages to the accused.
Very well.
Alfred Horatio Burton was born on the 3rd of September, 1894.
So you are now 78.
Yes, my lord.
At Battleby Hall in Yorkshire. He has no near relatives. His wife and only child died in a Japanese concentration camp in China during the Second World War. He was educated at Rugby School.
You know, Colonel, you're not entitled to put all in this in as evidence at this stage. It's not really relevant, but, well, if it won't take long, Colonel, I will allow it. Please go on, officer.
Between 1923 and 1927, he practiced as a lawyer in Hong Kong. Between 1927 and 1947, he lived in China.
But you went in a concentration camp.
No, my lord, you see, I was in the north when the Japanese came, and my wife and boy were in the south.
In 1947, after the communists took over, he went to live in Uganda, where he remained until 1971 when he returned to England. He's been living in Forchester ever since.
And during the whole of that time, officer, there hasn't been the smallest blot on my copybook.
No, sir.
No. Now, officer, did you see anything in my little room that anyone would have wanted to buy?
I can't say I did, sir. Well, there was certainly nothing there that I'd want to buy.
What was there in the room?
Oh, a bed, some bedclothes, and a few photographs hanging on the wall. That's all, as far as I can remember, my lord.
A carpet?
No, my lord, just lino.
No wardrobe? Where did you hang your clothes?
On my body, my lord.
I see. I suppose the bed must have been worth something.
Oh, I don't really think so, my lord. It had broken springs.
Ah, I see.
Now, officer, I'm coming to a question that gives me great pain because I have to suggest that you are wrong on a point of detail.
Yes, sir.
But I would stress, members of the jury, that it is only a point of detail that anyone could get wrong.
Colonel, what is the point?
It is only a point of detail, my lord. Officer, do you think you may have been mistaken in saying that I told you that the £4 notes were mine?
No, sir.
We were standing in my little bedroom off the landing on the second floor of Homewood House.
Yes, sir.
And upstairs, someone was playing the gramophone.
A record player. I remember that, sir, yes.
Yes, it was a record of those wartime speeches of that noble and great man, Sir Winston Churchill, and they were being played very loudly.
Well, I'm not sure what the record was,
Yes,
sir.
well, I am, because when we heard those speeches during the war, we didn't forget them, and the fellow upstairs plays them several times a day. But the important thing is, officer,
Yes, sir.
that when you asked me about the £4 notes,
Yes, sir.
you had to ask me twice before you got a reply.
Well, yes, I believe that's right, sir.
And the reason why you didn't get a reply in the first place was because there was so much noise. I didn't hear you the first time.
If you say so, sir.
And when you asked me about the £4 notes the second time, what I actually said was, it's not mine. But you didn't hear it all because of the gramophone.
Well, yes, that is possible, sir, yes.
In addition, officer, while you were asking that question, something distracting happened.
I'm not quite sure what you're referring to, sir.
Well, it was an indelicate distraction.
Oh, yes. My lord, the kitten made a mess in the corner.